Greetings and happy Sabbath to all of you. Christianity is the world's largest religion, with over 2 billion people identifying themselves as Christians. With these huge chunks of the population claiming as Christians, come with a different understanding and interpretation of the Bible, like the passage in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. This afternoon, in the Sermonette portion, it is my purpose to share with you the clear and easy to understand explanation of this passage in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. And we read it, and I quote, "So let no one judge you in food or in drink, or regarding a festival, or a new moon or Sabbaths, which are a shadow of things to come, but the substance is of Christ." That's the statement from Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. So let's dig in more clearly and look what did Paul warns here. Did he warns Christians against keeping God's law? What did Paul trying to convey? I think it's good to revisit and read again, and we'll read it more slowly this time. Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. This is in a New King James Version. And we read it more slowly this time. And I quote, "So let no one judge you in food or in drink, or regarding a festival, or a new moon, or the Sabbaths, which are a shadow of things to come, but the substance is of Christ." End of quote. Christians should search out the correct understanding of what Paul wrote here in this passage. We'll look into the root word, which is the substance. The Greek word translated as substance means body. Online Bible Greek lexicon says substance means body. You know, the word was inserted by the translators because they thought it helped the word flow. Without the word is inserted there, it reads, so we go again and read the last portion of verse 17 on the sentence there, and we'll read, "But the body of Christ." See, that's a simple statement. We get the inserted S there. Okay? But the body of Christ. In other words, let no man or group of men judge you on how you are practicing the Old Testament laws and the customs. What to do? Listen only to the body of Christ, which is the church. We can give some more proofs on this one, and we can go to Colossians chapter 1 verse 24. Colossians chapter 1 verse 24, and it says, I now rejoice in my suffering for you, and fill up in my flesh what is lacking in the affliction of Christ, for the sake of his body, which is the church. Clear and simple understanding. We can still go some more reference and proofs here, just to record it up, and you can read it yourself in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 to 13, and also verse 27. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 to 13, and verse 27. More a reference on that one. So let's continue here. Now, understanding the food and drink in Colossians chapter 2. The words food and drink are in gerund form. So, a more accurate translation would be eating and drinking. The biblical festivals especially included much eating and drinking, of course, but not drunkenness, literally feasting. And the New Testament speaks of elders and believers eating together after worship services, which enhance the joy of the Sabbath fellowship. That's what we usually do. And let's dig into more of the background to understand of this one. There are three things that I can share it to you. Number one is Christians, both Jew and Gentile in Colossians, are keeping the Old Testament laws and customs. Christians, both Jew and Gentile in Colossians, were keeping the Old Testament laws and customs. And number two, other people were judging and criticizing in a condemning manner these church members for their joyous eating and drinking, which is part of the observance of God's commanded assemblies. And number three, Paul didn't discourage them what they were doing, but rather told them to allow others, not to allow others to condemn their practices. Instead, they were to allow only the church, the body of Christ, to instruct them. So, we know the background and we understand it already now. Okay? So, that's the thing. Paul didn't discourage them, but they were doing, didn't discourage them what they were doing, but rather told them not to allow others to condemn their practices. Instead, they were only to allow the church, the body of Christ, to instruct them. So, hope that helps and give us a more clear understanding of that controversial passage in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. So, Colossians 2, chapter 2 shows that people in the congregations who are now promoting ungodly doctrines were criticizing the church, both the Jew and the Gentile, for their joyous observance of the festival, the new moons, the Sabbaths. But Paul confronted them. These heresies, and told the members who were feasting according to God's festival and Sabbath laws to carry on as they had been doing. You only listen to the church, not to these people who are spreading heresies. Who you gonna listen to? Listen only to the body of Christ and the church. That's what we are doing. So, that's a clear understanding of the passage in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 to 17.